Hello everyone, welcome back to Kiran's English Hub. So we are continuing with the summaries of Class 6 English, and here we see the contents of Class 6 English of SERT Telangana. And so far we have completed up to Unit 7 Reading B, and in this video we will go through Reading C, that is Ranji's Wonderful Bat. And so far we have completed all the above lessons, and you can find them all in the playlists of class 6, and you can also see the explanations from class 6 to class 10th in the playlists of my channel. And if you want any more videos to be made on particular topics, then you can just put them in the comment section. I will spend my time to make that videos and upload them. Yeah, here we go. This reading C, the title is Ranji's Wonderful Bat. Okay, so here of course we will be focusing on the characters of this lesson, but also we should have more focus on the bat. At the end of this lesson we will have a clear understanding of what is a self-confidence is, okay, how the things work when we have a lot of self-confidence. Okay, so let us see that. You can have a glance at this man who is holding the bat here. See, this picture is too old. It was, it might be at the starting of the the cricket season. You can see the the dress code of that time. You can see the shoes. You can see that this man has no gloves on his hands. Okay, so those gloves are completely different in those days, and you can also see the cap. Okay, so this was the picture that might have been taken long back. There is no particular relation between this picture and the lesson. We are just having the glance at the lesson very differently. Okay, so in this lesson we will be looking at a guy, at a at a student, at a boy who actually is failing to score good, and finally with the help of a bat, with the help of a man, or with the help of a shopkeeper, he finally becomes successful by hitting a century at the end. Okay, so remember that this particular unit having all the lessons related to the sports and games. So the theme of this three lessons or this particular unit is sports and games. So that's why we are having all the lessons related to the sports. The reading A was PT Usha, the golden girl, reading B was Indian cricketing, and here we have reading C, Ranji's Wonderful Bat. And let us start the lesson here. How is that? Shouted the wicket keeper, holding the ball up in his gloves. How is that? Echoed the fielders. How? Growled the fast bowler, glaring at the umpire. See, this scene usually happens in the cricket. Okay, the game cricket. So usually in the cricket, I mean, in the village when we play, we don't do this. But if you watch a cricket game, a cricket match, usually you can find our Indian, bowlers and fielders. For example, if ball just misses the bat, or if ball just hits the pads, usually they say, how is that? Okay, they look at the umpire. See, usually that's just like that, glaring in the sense looking at the umpire. So all these wicket keeper and fielders, even the bowler, fast bowler, everybody looked at the umpire, and they are appealing for the out. Okay, so that is called, usually this type of thing is called as appealing. Okay, appealing to the umpire, appealing in the sense just like requesting. Okay, asking like how how the ball is, or whether it is out or not. Okay, so usually we see this thing in the televisions, in national and international cricket games. Out, said the umpire. Okay, as soon as they appealed for that, the umpire said out. And Suraj, the captain of the school team, was walking slowly back to the tool shed at the far end of the field. So this Suraj, he was the captain of the school team. So this guy was out, and he started walking slowly towards the the stadium, at the end of the stadium. Okay, so this lesson usually starts nowhere in the middle. Okay, there was no such thing like, once upon a time there was a cricket match, two teams were playing, one team has scored this much, another team has to score, captain was batting and captain was out. It was not like that. Immediately we come to the nowhere in the middle of this the cricket match, and we start nowhere in the middle with the this little phrase, how is that? Okay, so we have to understand there was a cricket match going on between two teams. Okay, and when these people, the bowling team has appealed for the wicket of this Suraj, the captain, the umpire said out. Okay, just be in the world, imagine that some cricket match is already going on, then you can understand it very well. Okay, so Suraj is out, and he started walking towards the end. Okay, so the score stood at 53 for 4 wickets. Another 60 runs had to be made for the victory, and only one good batsman remained. All the rest were bowlers who could not make many runs. Okay, so what is the situation now? The game is going on already. Suraj is out, and with Suraj wicket, it was 4 wickets. Okay, that means all the main and important batsmen were out, and the score was 53. And another 60 runs had to be made, and there were no good batsmen. All the bowlers are remaining. Usually bowlers, most of the bowlers usually don't bat well. Okay, so it was Ranji's turn to bat. So now here comes the man Ranji. Okay, so it was Ranji's turn to bat. He was the youngest member of the team, only 11, but strong and bold. What was the age of the Ranji? Ranji's age was 11, and he was the youngest one. He was the smallest one in that whole team. Ranji prepared to face the bowler. The hard, shiny red ball came speeding towards him. So the next batsman after Suraj was Ranji. So Ranji came to the pitch to bat, and he started he was ready to bat. And this hard, shiny red ball. See, all these adjectives are used to explain how the ball was, right? So this hard, shiny red ball came towards him with very much speed. So Ranji was going to leap forward and play the ball back to the bowler, but at the last moment he changed his mind and stepped back, planning to push the ball through the ring of fielders on his right or offside. So the ball swung in the air, short of the grass, and came through sharply to strike Ranji on his pads. So the situation was like this: the bowler has released the ball. Ranji wanted to, the forward play, we call it as forward play, when we step a bit forward. I mean, we stand like this usually when we bat, right, with the two legs on the ground without any imbalance. And when the ball comes, usually the batsmen usually put a step forward, so that is called as forward play usually. Okay, so that forwarding step, he wanted to play that like that, by putting his left leg or right leg forward. So immediately he changed his mind, and he wanted to just pull back. Okay, he wanted to come back, and just he wanted to hit the ball between the fielders in the 50 yard meter 50-meter circle. So what happened there was different. The ball swung in the air, the ball came very fast, and it shot off the grass. Okay, it stepped on the grass, and it came through sharply to strike on Ranji's pads. That means Ranji couldn't hit the ball with the bat, and the bat came and directly it hit on the Ranji's pads. So Ranji missed the ball, and immediately what next happened was the umpire said, raised a finger, out, he said. So what type of out it is? It is called as LBW, leg before the wicket. Okay, without hitting the ball with the bat, if the ball touches pads directly, then we consider it as LBW wicket. Okay, so actually Ranji wanted to hit the ball, but he missed the ball since he changed his mind at the last moment, and the ball hit on his pads, and he is he's taken as LBW wicket. Even the umpire said out. and it was Ranji's turn to walk back to the tool shed. The match was won by the visiting team. Okay, even the Ranji also was out and he also walked, towards the tool shed. Here, tool shed in the sense nothing but the gallery. Okay, usually where the people sit. Okay, out of the ground. Next, so the match was won. Okay, the match was over after that, after some time, and the match was won by the visiting team, the opposing team. So never mind, said Suraj. Suraj is captain. Okay, so Suraj said, never mind patting Ranji on back. Okay, usually when we lose the game, what is the thing that we do? Usually we when we are like too depressed with the loss, usually our friends or another place, they come and say, okay, okay, it's okay, that's fine, we actually win the next game. So that was the thing between Suraj and the Ranji here. Okay, so Suraj came, he was the captain, and he said, okay, it's okay, fine, no problem, never mind, so you will do better next time. And he also said you can do better, but their coach was more strict. See, Suraj here is only captain, he can just say okay, never mind, but the coach thing is little bit difficult. Okay, so here the coach said okay something. Okay, he was very serious. You will have to make more runs in the next game, he told Ranji, or you will lose your place in the side. So see, this is that or this situation. Okay, so the coach came and said to Ranji, come here. See, in the next game, you have to make more runs. Otherwise, you will be removed from the team. Okay. See, usually that is the tensed situation for the players. When they get these type of things, these type of conditions from the coaches. So you can see the picture here. On this thing had happened. This guy released the ball came and it hit the pads here. Okay, imagine this guy is Ranji. Okay, so here the umpire gave out. Okay, we can see that. Okay, this is the thing happened. So avoiding the other players, Ranji walked slowly homewards in the sense towards home. Okay, so he was so disappointed because all the good batsmen were out, so that he was the only batsman who can play a little bit well. Okay, so the match was like in his hands. So when he was also out, everybody got disappointed and even the game was won by the visiting team. And now because of that reason, Ranji was a little bit disappointed and he started walking towards his home. So he was very upset. Okay, he was very dull, very upset. He had been trying so hard and practicing so regularly, but when an important game came along, he failed to make a big score. So the situation in his life is, see, he has been practicing regularly and he has been practicing so well, so hard, but when there was an important game, Ranji always failed to make big score, to bat well. Even this was the game where Ranji had to play well, because all the rest of the bowlers they cannot bat well. So the game actually was in the hands of Ranji. Okay, even in that game he couldn't do well. So this was a situation. These are the situations usually going on in his matches. He was not actually batting very well. So on his way home, he had to pass Mr. Kumar's sports shop. So when he was going back to his home on his way, he had actually had to cross Mr. Kumar's sports shop. Okay, so he liked to chat with the owner or look at all the things on the shelves: footballs, cricket balls, badminton rackets, hockey sticks, and balls of various shapes and sizes. Mr. Kumar had been a state player once and had scored a century in a match against Tanzania. Okay, so here what happened was, usually when he goes back to his home from the ground, he goes to this Kumar's shop, sports shop. Okay, he has the habit of having a small chat with the owner. Okay, with the owner Kumar, and usually he was a boy, right? He was a little one. He used to look at all the balls, all the footballs, cricket balls, badmintons, all these things. Okay, because usually children like the sports very much. So when all these, the sports things are in front of the eyes, children feel more happy, right? So he just usually goes to that shop. And this man, Mr. Kumar, he had been a state player. Okay, he used to play cricket for the state, and he had even scored a century in a match. Okay, that match was against Tanzania. That was a bit about Kumar. But this was one day when he did not feel like stopping. So he looked the other way and was about to cross the road when Mr. Kumar's voice stopped him. Hello Ranji, why are you looking so sad? Lost the game today? So usually Ranji goes to Kumar's shop soon after the game, usually when he goes to the house. But on this particular day, when this match was lost, Ranji didn't feel like going and talking to Mr. Kumar. So he doesn't want to look at Mr. Kumar, because Mr. Kumar knows about this game. So if Ranji goes there and starts speaking, Mr. Kumar will ask, okay, did you win the game or not? Actually, he lost the game, and that was too because of him. So he doesn't want to speak about all those things. That's why he just bent his head down and he was trying to escape from the sight of Mr. Kumar. But Mr. Kumar had seen him, so he immediately asked, hello Ranji, why are you looking so sad? Lost the game today? So immediately Mr. Kumar got the information looking at his face. So immediately asked this question, did you lose the game again today? Okay, so Ranji felt better as soon as he was inside the shop. Yes, we lost the match. So as soon as he got into the shop, as soon as this Mr. Kumar asked him about the game, Ranji got into the shop, and when he got into the shop, it was good for him. Why? It was because all the sports things are surrounded by him, right? So because of that, again he started to feel a bit good. So he replied saying, Ranji replied saying, yes, we lost the match. So never mind, said Mr. Kumar. What would you do with these losers? Anyway, how many runs did you make? So even Mr. Kumar said just like Suraj, okay, never mind, don't take it to heart. Okay, and Ranji, this one, Mr. Kumar also asked, okay, how many runs did you make? Come on, tell me. So none, a big round egg. I haven't made a score in my last 3 matches, said Ranji. I will be dropped from the team if I don't do something in the next game. So Ranji immediately started replying like this, no, I haven't scored any runs, and it was a big round egg, in the sense 0. He didn't score anything, he was the duckout. What do you mean by duckout? Duckout in the sense, getting out without even scoring 1 run. Okay, the players who are out at the 0 runs are called as duckouts. Okay, and he also said, see, since the last 3 matches I am not being very good at the game, I am not scoring very well. So if I don't do better, or if I don't do good in the next game, I will be dropped out. So that was the information from the coach. So he said like that. Well, we can't have that happening, said Mr. Kumar. Something will have to be done about it. Something will have to be done about it. So Mr. Kumar said, no, how can they drop you from the team? No, that should not happen. We shall do something about it. Okay, we shall plan something, he said like that. So I am just unlucky, said Ranji. Maybe, but in that case, it's time your luck changed. Okay, so even this Mr. Kumar is backing Mr. Ranji, saying, okay, next time you can do well, next time you have to plan better, next time you will do better. So Ranji is still disappointed and he is saying that I am lucky, I am not playing well. But here Mr. Kumar started giving him more encouragement. So Mr. Kumar began looking closely at the number of odd cricket bats, and after a few minutes he said, ah, and he picked up one of the bats and held it out to Ranji. That is it, he said, and this is the luckiest of all my old bats. This is the bat I made a century with. So Mr. Kumar, he wanted to give more encouragement to Ranji, and when Ranji was telling all these things like I'm not playing well, I will be dropped out, all these things, so Mr. Kumar he started looking at the bats in his shop. Okay, some some old cricket bats. So he immediately picked up one bat and he said, yeah, this is the bat this is one of the best bats I used to play with. And he also said, this was the bat I made a century with. What did he say? This was the bat I made a century with. Okay, so previously in the previous stanza we see that Mr. Kumar had been a state player and he had scored a century. So usually people might know it, even Ranji also knows it. So that's what he added here. He said, this was the bat I made a century with. Okay, so he held it out to Ranji. Here, take it. I will lend it to you for the rest of the cricket season. You won't fail with it. So here, Kumar, he had given that bat to Ranji and he said, so Ranji, you take this bat. This is very lucky bat, and in the next games you will not at all fail. Okay, I am lending it to you. You will not fail at all. You practice well, you play well. Okay, he said like that. So Ranji took the bat and gazed at it. Gazed in the sense, just like having a look at it, and with awe and delight, with some happiness. Is it really the bat you made a century with? He asked. So here Ranji was very much thrilled. Usually in the cricket games, for example, take Sachin. So if he, usually he has the huge collection of his own bats. He just saves all the bats that he makes century. He keeps all the bats which he made century in one particular room. Okay, and he also even writes on the bat on which day and against whom he had made a century. Okay, so that is like a memorable thing, right? So having hit a century with that particular bat is a memorable thing. And that bat, even imagine the cost of the bat that had been made a century by Sachin. Usually Sachin, Sachin's bat which he made 0 runs, and the Sachin bats which he made 100 runs, if you put them in the auction, this 0 bat that might not go for a good rate, but this bat which particularly which is made a century, that will be of the more rate. So usually there is a difference. The bat is same, the wood is same, and the person who played with that is same, but the runs that were made by the bats are different. So the 0 runs made bat costs less, and the 100 scored or the century scored bat usually gets more rate in the auctions. So just like that, here also Ranji is more thrilled because Kumar had made a century, and Kumar said, and this is the bat which I made a century with it. And here when he held it to Ranji, Ranji was more thrilled. Oh my God, I am having a bat which had been made a century. Okay, so Ranji was more thrilled. He was very much happy. So he asked the same to Kumar, and Kumar said, yes, it is. So it may get you 100 runs too. So now Kumar also added, yes, this is a bat I made a century with, and it can also give you 100 runs. Okay, so you can also make 100 runs because it is very good bat. So Ranji spent a nervous week. Okay, so it was after that day, Ranji was very nervous, and 1 week was over and waiting for the Saturday's match. So the next Saturday he had a match, and all that week he was very nervous, and he was playing, practicing, and he has been waiting for that match because he has the bat in his hand which was very good bat, okay, which was used to make a century by the player Kumar. So he asked Koki, the next door girl, to bowl him in the garden. So Koki bowled quite well. Okay, there was a girl in the neighborhood. The name of the girl is Koki, and just to practice, he asked that girl to bowl, and then even Koki also bowled for him. So at last Saturday arrived, bright and sunny. So it was after 1 week, it was Saturday. It was bright and sunny, just right for cricket. Okay, it is very good for cricket. Bright and sunny day is good for cricket. So Suraj won the toss for the school and decided to bat first. Okay, Suraj is the captain here. So Suraj went to the toss here, and Suraj won the toss, and he selected to bat first. So the opening batsman put on 30 runs without being separated. The visiting fast bowlers couldn't do much. Okay, okay. So the opening batsmen together they made the partnership of 30 runs, and the visiting bowlers they couldn't take the wickets. Then the spin bowlers came on, and immediately there was a change in the game. So as soon as the spinners, they might come in the middle overs. So when they came, the game was completely different. It was changed. So 2 wickets fell in 1 over, and the score was 33 for 2. Okay, so first the score was 30 and there were no wickets, 0, and immediately when a spin bowler came, it was 33 runs and the wickets were 2. See, okay, so from 30 to 33, before they could go to 34, they lost the 2 wickets, 2 main wickets. So Suraj made a few quick runs, and then he too was out to one of the spinners, caught behind the wicket, and it was Ranji's turn. So just like the usual, even Suraj was also out. Okay, he was also out with the ball of spinner, and after Suraj, it is Ranji's turn, right? So let us see what Ranji did here. So he walked slowly to the wicket. The bowler took a short run, and then the ball was, thrilling towards Ranji. And then a thrill ran through Ranji's arm, and he felt the ball meet the bat. So he started batting, and he knows the ball was coming, and he just hit the bat. Okay, it is explained, with more deliverance here. So crack! The ball hit firmly with the middle of Ranji's bat, struck past the helpless bowler, and sped towards the boundary. 4 runs. The first ball itself, boundary. It was 4. Okay, so there was a big sound, crack. Okay, the ball hit on the middle of the bat, and it just sped, in the sense the speed. Okay, it can be used as a noun also. It just sped towards the boundary, and there were 4 runs, and that was only the beginning. Okay, the 4 runs was only the beginning. Okay, there is a lot more. Now Ranji began to play all the strokes he knew. He started playing every shots. Okay, all the different shots. Okay, that short boundary, this boundary, that stretch, this stretch, everything he played. He sent the fielders scrambling to all the corners of the field. He almost hit the runs to every side of the field. Scrambling in the sense, spending, covering all the field. Okay, so all the fielders, they ran here, there, one ball here, one ball right side, one ball left side. All the balls were being hit by Ranji. 20 minutes after the lunch, when Suraj closed the innings, Ranji was not out with 58, and Ranji school won the match. On his way home, Ranji stopped at Mr. Shop. So at the end, after the lunch, the game was over, and this Ranji's team, Suraj's captain's team, has won the match, and 58, in the sense he scored half century. Okay, Ranji scored half century, and Ranji was not out. Okay, Ranji was not out. Okay, so that means he almost had a memorable, he gave a memorable win for his school team. So on his way home, Ranji stopped at Mr. Kumar's shop. Why? Ranji had played with the bat of Kumar, so he wanted to tell him. So he immediately went there, and he said, "We won," he said, "and I made a 58, my highest score so far. It really is a lucky bat." Okay, so he immediately went to Mr. Kumar, and he said there, so Mr. Kumar, I am very thankful to you. I made a 58 score, and that is the highest score that I have so far. That is an half century, and my school team has won the match. So this is written by Ruskin Bond. There is a bit more lesson actually. We have only half of this here. So what actually happens is the bat which Mr. Kumar gave is not actually the bat which made a century with. Okay, did you get me? See, Kumar had given a bat to Ranji, the boy, right? So the bat which is given was said to be the bat which made 100 with, but actually that was not the bat which made 100. Mr. Kumar just wanted to encourage this little boy to score more. So that is the reason he gave just a simple normal bat, that was not the bat which made century with. So he gave a bat and he said, this was the bat I made a century with. Because of that thing, this Ranji, he got more confidence in himself. This is not actually the wonderful bat, this is actually the wonder in Ranji. Okay, till he got that, Mr. Kumar's bat, he didn't know that he has that much of talent. Actually, he made 58 runs, not with the bat, not since because it is a great bat, but only with his own talent. So that talent is there in Ranji, but he couldn't bring it out. So after this thing, when Ranji tells Mr. Kumar that I made score with this bat, here Mr. Kumar reveals, he says, no Kumar, no Ranji, actually this is not the bat which made I'm a century with. This this was only given to boost your confidence, to give you more confidence. So when you actually have this bat in your hands, you will feel more confident to hit the runs. So actually the confidence is in yourself. Actually you are not able to find it out. So we also have a lot of confidence in ourselves, we also have a lot of talent in ourselves, but the thing is, we usually blame ourselves, or we usually don't try to bring them up. So we all actually need a push like this, a century bat. Okay, so that when that push is given, everybody becomes successful. So that push usually comes uh, to people's lives sometimes early, some people's life it is late, but the thing is, we should not wait for that push, we should go on, with a lot of confidence. Okay, so please, if you have any time, please go to the rest of the lesson. I cannot do that here. Okay, some questions. There are no glossary here, this is reading C, right. So here this is the thing for this reading, and in the next videos we shall go through unit 8's reading A and B. Okay, so reading A is Of the Prize and reading B is The Shaik's White Donkey. So both are another good lessons we have, so we shall see them in the next videos. And before leaving the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and those who want to go through the previous all these lessons videos, go through my playlist, and don't forget to share our videos and hit the like button. Even if you want any another videos to be made, please put them in the comment section. I will find time for myself to make that videos. Okay, so that is it for this video. So take care guys, see you in the next video.